we confront ICE peacefully. They've been all trained by the ACLU as to how to confront ICE legally. Now, Tom Holman, the head of ICE, said, Border Patrol, says, if you attack ICE, you're going to be killed, dead. Well, we don't attack ICE physically. We come out. We say, are you ICE? We say, hey, don't open your doors. ICE.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay? So, the National Security Presidential Memo number 7 is McCarthyism on steroids. All right? I just want to say, we have been an organization since 2009. We started out as Unidad Latina New Jersey, in Hightstown, New Jersey. We've had the Solidarity Singers and Bible Panic supporting us. And we are now Resistencia in Acción, New Jersey, for the last couple of years. And for years, we've been pushing to stop the local police from collaborating with ICE. Okay? Now we're pushing for the New Jersey Immigrant Trust Act and legislation that limits the involvement of state and local agencies and law enforcement with federal immigration enforcement. Immigration is federal law. Local police have no business being involved with immigration action. In fact, immigration actions by the local police are inimical and antithetical to good law enforcement. If you are an immigrant who's either a victim of crime or a witness to a crime, why would you cooperate with the local police if you fear deportation, detention, or family separation? It doesn't make sense. So we are opposed to the National Security Presidential Memo 7. And I just want to say, although our main focus is domestic immigration policy, we support all oppressed people. We support the Palestinians because they are victims of oppression. We also recognize and support the freedom of people to self-determination. The people of Venezuela and Colombia have the right to self-determination. Hands off for Venezuela and Colombia. And
Chinga la migra.
One other thing I want to say is that one of the reasons why I think protecting immigrants, among other things, is so important to democracy is that in her book, From Mussolini, Strongmen, Mussolini to the President, Mussolini to the President, author Ruth Benguia points out that both Hitler and Mussolini started out by attacking immigrants. So, once more, ni una deportación más.
Ni una deportación más.
Not one more deportation.
Deportation.
Solidarity.
JT. Special guest, JT from Black Alliance.
JT.
In addition to our agenda for the day,
Peace, New Jerseyans. My name is JP, actually.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And I am a member of the Black Alliance for Peace. I'm also a member of an organization called Community Movement Builders, the Newark chapter. And the Black Alliance for Peace seeks to recapture and redevelop the anti-war, anti-imperialist, and pro-peace positions of the radical Black movement. Community Movement Builders is a member-based collective of Black people creating sustainable, self-determining communities through cooperative economic advancement and collective community organizing. I am here today in solidarity with the No Complicity New Jersey Committee's call for the state and local governments to take concrete steps to combat federal repression. Empty platitudes about threats to democracy will not do. Vague and empty statements about the threat will not do. Vague and empty promises about the threats facing dissenting voices will not do. It is actually vagueness that brings us here today. Vague and open terms like anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Christianity. Vague and open categories like those who support quote-unquote extremism on migration, race, and gender, or those who support quote-unquote hostility towards traditional American views on family, religion, and morality. On top of that, this national security presidential memorandum offers a one-sided narrative of a vague amorphous term like political violence. It leaves out the overt, self-proclaimed white supremacist mass murderers of Charleston churchgoers and Buffalo supermarket shoppers. It leaves out the cold-blooded murder of 2 Minnesota state lawmakers. And it is this vagueness that the Trump administration and the previous one has and will continue to exploit to advance its agenda. An agenda that has not been nor will be contained to the United States. Through vague, undefined terms like criminal, terrorist, or gangster, this administration has continued to take the lead in the now decades-long violent, militarized meddling and intervention into Haitian affairs. Through vague, undefined terms like criminal, terrorist, and gangster, the current administration has led a murderous bombing campaign that has killed dozens of people throughout the Caribbean. It is these vague, open categories that now leave dissenting and people-centered voices and organizations open to prosecution, persecution, and assault without due process or even a shred of evidence. This presidential memorandum states, quote, "The United States requires a national strategy to investigate and disrupt networks, entities, and organizations that foment political violence so that law enforcement can intervene in criminal conspiracies before they result in violent political acts. This means that those who stand up and say, we believe that our community should have control over what happens in our community, not real estate developers or boards of directors, may very well be branded as quote-unquote anti-capitalist and investigated and targeted and disrupted. This means that churches who love on and celebrate their undocumented parishioners and trans youth whom they have known for years may very well be branded as extremists on migration and gender and investigated and targeted and disrupted. This means that young men like me who live with a healthy, evidence-backed suspicion of law enforcement and stand up and say unapologetically that Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, Michael Brown, Breonna Taylor, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, Carl Dorsey, Drew Washington, and Deborah Terrell should be alive today may very well be branded as opposing, quote-unquote, foundational American principles such as support for law enforcement and investigated and targeted and disrupted. This means that those of us who stand against the draining of the public coffers to finance and profit from imperial wars in Palestine, Ukraine, and now our own hemisphere will continue to be branded as quote-unquote anti-American and investigated and targeted and disrupted. Here's the thing. As vague as these terms and categories are, the Trump administration has made crystal clear how it plans to leverage them to continue to destroy those who stand up to a ruling class imperialist agenda. And let's keep this real. As my sister and comrade Lisa Davis just said, those who are Black and African and stand up for poor and working class Black communities and the oppressed will continue to be at the top of that list. What is unclear is what the state of New Jersey and the city of Newark plan to do about these threats. Will you move past vague, empty platitudes and sound bites about how Trump is destroying democracy? Will you step up to protect those who oppose this ruling class agenda? Or will you leave us to the hungry wolves? The people inside Delaney Hall and their families want to know. The family of Deborah Terrell, who is calling for accountability, justice, and transformation, want to know. Right. The students and faculty who are risking much to speak up for Palestine, Haiti, Venezuela, Colombia, Sudan, and the Congo want to know. Whatever their answer may be, the Black Alliance for Peace is clear. We call on the people to stand up and to organize here and abroad. People-centered human rights aren't the ones that are given to us. They are the ones that we struggle for and win as a people. The Black Alliance for Peace calls on the people, to stand up and to organize, to make our Americas a zone of peace. This memorandum is a declaration of war on those who are struggling for people's-centered human rights, especially Black and African people. We have seen the outcomes of this war in the past few weeks, as nearly 80 terrorists, quote-unquote, have now been murdered. This is why we must fight, and this is why we must fight not only for peace, but people-centered human rights, so that our Americas can be a zone of peace. Thank you.
If not, we'll bring Lawrence in. So anyone else? I think we went through all. Everyone except Lawrence.
I just have a couple of quick observations. One is that if you're against anti-fascism and anti-fascists, what does that make you?
Co-fascists.
And then another observation is that one thing that Charlie Kirk had in common with nationalist Christians is they're all equally offended by the actual teachings of Christ, which is feed the poor, welcome the stranger, heal the sick.
That's the love church. There's the love church and the hate church.
All the basic precepts of Christianity they stand against. So how are they really Christian? Absolutely conversation. And if you're standing against like DEI, you're standing against LGBT people, trans people who have practiced religions, and it goes against the pluralism of discussion. But that's it's because it's the all people, all humanitarian people, all people you have to stand up.
Sorry.
Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. Brothers and sisters, let's give Bob a big hand for organizing this. It's interesting we're out here at this FBI fortress here in Newark, New Jersey, because the breath of fascism is breathing down our necks. Let me say, for the record, that the People's Organization for Progress, we oppose the executive order from Donald Trump designating Antifa as a terrorist organization, and we oppose the executive order on countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence, also known as National Security Presidential Memorandum number 7.
I still make a mistake.
We oppose those, and we call upon. I joined with Bob and everybody else who is here today to call upon. First of all, it's an executive order. Executive orders can be rescinded. But it takes an act of Congress to rescind the executive orders. Now, what is the possibility that this Congress, dominated by MAGA Republicans, is going to rescind one of Donald Trump's executive orders? Slim to none. But that should not stop us from demanding that the Democratic congressional representatives from New Jersey call for rescinding those executive orders. I call upon my own Congresswoman, Monica McGivern, to call on her delegation to speak out against and rescind the executive orders. I call on the U.S. Senators for New Jersey, Booker and Andy Kim, to rescind these executive orders. I call on every Democratic congressperson in this state to call for the rescission of those executive orders. And I want to commend the Congressional Progressive Caucus in Congress that has already taken a stand. I call on the Black Congressional Caucus to take a stand on this. It's absolutely, people, what is one of the outstanding characteristics of fascism? To destroy the opposition. When Hitler came to power, he outlawed the other political parties. This Antifa executive order and this other executive order on domestic terrorism and political violence are attempts to crush any opposition to the Trump administration. And that includes us. That's why you think this is abstract. You read these executive orders, they want to go after non-profit organizations like the ACLU and other organizations like the National Lawyers Guild and other organizations that have and the People's Organization for Progress and the Solidarity Singers. They want to lock us up. And that's not an exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. They are intent, at least on attempting to try to crush any opposition. And they tell you that. And you know, there was a point coming out of the Black Liberation Movement, we know that they want to stop the radical people in the Black Liberation Movement. But if you listen to Trump now, he's like everybody. Everybody that opposes him. This is not just against, I mean, at one point, it was clear that it was against our undocumented brothers and sisters. Now they locking up black people in Chicago. But they're going to lock up anybody, red, black, yellow, brown, white, anybody that opposes them. And this is important to understand that they're not just going after a sliver of the people. They want to lock up everybody, whether you're a Democrat or not a Democrat. They don't care. If you oppose Trump, they want to, what's the word? They want to find a way to neutralize it, either physically, legally, or in some other fashion. This is a very dangerous situation that we're in now. So we have real work to do. Like, we can't stop here tonight with just this action. We have to have other actions to make people aware of these executive orders and what they're going to do. But, you know, we have to build a movement around this. And the other thing that's important to understand is some of the other speakers were speaking to this. This didn't start with Trump. Anybody that says that this started with Trump is not telling the whole story. I mean, if we wanted to, we could take this back to 1964 when Goldwater made the alliance with the John Birch Society. That was probably the beginning of opening the door to a lot for the Republicans to align themselves with neo-Nazis, Nazis, Confederates, the Klan, neo-Confederates, right-wingers of all stripes and of all types. So this has started long ago. We were here in 1967. Trump is calling out troops. It's not the first time Trump called out troops. They've been calling out coup. Every time black people rise up, they call out coup. But there's one difference now. There was a rebellion in 1967. He wants to send troops to places where there's no rebellion. And what is the purpose of it? There are several purposes. One is to intimidate people, to keep people, to strike fear in people. Another reason is to keep people away from the polls, because they're lining, if you look at what's happening, they're lining up the machinery to prevent an election perhaps as early as 2026. I mean, to me, I don't know about you, but I don't see a guarantee that we will actually have the election. We have to fight as if the elections are going to be held, but they are moving expeditiously. What does Trump want to do? He wants to precipitate a crisis where he can activate the Insurrection Act of 1807. If they activate the Insurrection Act of 1807, he can declare martial law. If he can declare martial law, he can cancel elections. And this has been done before. The New York City election was canceled in 9/11. The mayoral election, y'all remember?
I don't remember that detail.
Anybody remember? Well, you call it what you want. Well, look, the election did not happen in September. They postponed the election. So elections can be canceled. And if martial law is in effect, they can cancel an election. So, I mean, it's not like we got to make stuff up. They tried to overthrow the government. Didn't they try to overthrow? I mean, am I making this up here? They tried to overthrow the government. 1,500 people were pardoned. 1,500 people that attacked the Capitol. Look at us. If we look wrong at a police officer, we're arrested. But they can attack police officers, hurt police officers, seriously wound police officers. And now they're pardoned. And they killed a police officer, caused his death. And now they're trying to rewrite the whole. And then Trump's going to ask for $230,000 from the government to reimburse his legal fees. $230 million. And they've snuck something in this bill, the CR that they're going to try and pass to enable senators whose phone records were subpoenaed to also with that. 8 right? So this thing is very serious. We have to take it serious. We who are here, we're taking it serious, but we gotta build a mass movement. You know, and we're building. It's not like we gotta build it. Y'all are member of organizations. You have organizations. We all are part of organizations. But we have to build up this movement. Personally, I think that Tuesday's election was a demonstration of the for that movement. You know, I mean, what would we be saying if Chitterelli was elected? You know, it'd be a whole different story, wouldn't it?
No, we have a chance now. We wouldn't have a chance.
But people do want to fight back. When I was standing over there, holding up the sign, there were people blowing. They were blowing for this sign, Stop Fascism. They were blowing for the other one, Democracy and Dictatorship. They were blowing. We got one over there that says freedom of speech. People were blowing. But on the other hand, there were some people that didn't like it. You know, and that says something too. That there's a section of the population that supports Trump. Because they know that this is about Trump. They know, even though we don't have a sign tonight that says Trump, they know this is about Trump. So we got to build this movement. We got to stop this fascist movement.
Right.
What Trump is doing represents something that is historical, but also at this stage is quantitatively and qualitatively different. They want to seize control. They want to create an apartheid government in this country. That's ultimately what they want to do. And it's not just about these executive orders. They're trying to create a total police state. I mean, Peter Thiel.
Right, that's the
Palantir,
yeah.
Musk and Zuckerberg. All of this is a kind of surveillance infrastructure that they're setting up, the point of which is to control us and to oppress us.
And it's more absolute. because
That's
with
right.
that you got everybody.
Imagine if Hitler had this kind of
AI
technological
and
infrastructure, what he could possibly do. So we have to draw all the connections, and I'm sure everybody's touched on this. I don't want to be redundant, but I do want to say that we're going to march in January. So I hope people will march with us on the anniversary of Dr. King's birthday on January 19th. I hope it will be the biggest demonstration that we've ever had for Dr. King's birthday. You know, under this executive order, NSPM 7, they would arrest Martin Luther King.
Right.
I mean, it's sad. Hold on, right? They said anybody that's anti-capitalist, right? Isn't that in the executive order? You anti-capitalist. That's damn near everybody.
Extremists on race.
That's right. So thank you.
All right, so do we want to sing some more? No, okay. Okay.
All right, we'll sing this one song. To the yellow submarine, sing this chorus. We won't live in
A fascist USA, a fascist USA. We won't live in the fascist USA, the fascist USA, the fascist USA.
We won't live in
The fascist USA, the fascist USA, the fascist USA. We all live in a fascist USA, a fascist USA, a fascist USA. Can I do one? I'm not gonna do my whole song, but I started to write the song. I'm just gonna do one verse. Can you record it? NSPM 7, what's it gonna do to you? NSPM 7, it happened while you took a snooze. You thought you had nothing to lose, but now you got the NSPM 7 blues. They say you're anti-Christian. When's the last time your knees hit the pew? They say you're anti-American, but killing Venezuelans just don't seem right to you. And they say you're anti-capitalist, or maybe you're just tired of watching people being screwed. Now they call the JTDF, and they lock up a million contraptions in all their hidden pockets. You hide an illegal thought, and now they're gonna stop it. The mass across the face. This nation's a disgrace. 10 gangsters all over town. Soon they'll be shooting us down. We got the NSPM 7 blue. We don't got to fight these NSPM 7 blue. Don't worry, I won't sing the rest.
Okay.